roommates. That's good.
That's a good one. Yeah. So Karen, welcome. And we're just going around to share insights, anything from last week that you want to share or just anything in general.
Well, I think Lori already heard that one of my supervisors has seen how this aligns with the castle stuff, which is more outside in the work that Viana's doing. And this is inside out, but it complements it. So we're okay to keep going forward. And she's actually kind of encouraged me to go continue. I went with I went with the first grade class for the first time Friday. And I have 2 more first grade classes when I get back from spring break next week. So
Nice.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
And I had gotten an email
Awesome.
from one of my colleagues, and she said one of her little boys is just really trying to hold that fast and furious and just like letting that stuff go and just keeping himself in check. And I've got 2 classes have done the responses to my survey, and the kids, there's a couple of kids have asked, like, when are you coming back? That was their question.
Wow.
So
That's
it's
the best compliment.
Yeah, exactly.
What a compliment, right?
See, now even the children heard truth.
Yeah.
You see? Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Wow.
Yeah.
Now, I'm just curious, Karen, how about like, are the teachers in the room too? Like the
they're
class,
in the room. And the first time that I go, I'm giving them that My Guide Inside picture book.
So I wonder,
So I have
what do
something to leave
they,
behind.
right, but have they like seen something themselves? Are they like in awe, or what's their response been? I
They're
guess
like,
I
you
wanted to
keep
say.
coming back as often as you want, is their response.
Yeah.
Because they said we don't get enough SEL time, and what I'm doing is appealing.
Good, good, beautiful.
You know what I want to comment
nice.
to Karen also. What I marvel at about you bringing a whole new program into the school, you know, it's inside out, and that all the other programs they do is outside in. To your credit, that you're not making a big deal about that. You're just presenting what you know without, you know, stepping on any toes.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Trying to go very gentle.
Very gently.
Yes.
And as
That's
a
the way to
result,
go.
people are catching on. They're hearing something. They're seeing something.
Yes.
I was not like that when I first got exposed to the principals. I don't know what Scarlett's experience and Lynn's experience is, but I didn't see that until I turned people off, and then I realized. Yeah.
Mine's been more not knowing what to say, but as I've been going through that picture book with the children, it's hit me more and more deeply. So it's become more natural for me to talk about it.
Yeah, beautiful, Karen.
Could you say just a little bit more about what you mean when you say it hit you a little bit more talking to children?
Yeah, it's just, recognizing that I have a guide, and I knew that, it's just in realizing just sometimes you need to stop. One of my favorite pictures in the book is the heron that sits on the edge of the bank there and just has to watch and wait. And I've always been intrigued by that bird, because sometimes my mouth does just go running. And so I've had to stop. It's just hard. I've got a friend who I struggle with a relationship with her because she just has a way of hitting my buttons. And it's like, and I told another friend the other day, I said, I'm hard. It's hard. I said, because I know we're missing each other. I said, but it's like, you ask me for information, but when you get it before I do, you don't share back. And it's just one of those, it's treat me the way you want to be treated. And it's like, it's hard. It's hard to find the words to say to somebody like that. And that lady this afternoon was like, don't, just go with love, do the right thing, and just, you're not going to fix them. They may eventually come around, but that's not mine to fix.
Right.
I'm starting to realize that.
Great insights. Yeah.
Isn't it interesting that here you are, an adult, and the other adults, the other teachers, the other supervisors in the room, they're going to be learning from this children's book.
That's right.
That's beautiful.
They don't know what they're in for in a good way. Yeah, that's awesome, Karen. Good for you.
Okay.
Excellent, excellent. Let's
How about
see,
Judy?
Judy, how are you doing there besides some surgery there, Judy?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. One of the things that I've been really doing is listening a lot more to some of my old Eckhart Tolle tapes, and which kind of goes along really nicely with what we're talking about. And he said something that really struck me in one of his podcasts. And he talked about when he first awakened, and he was in so much pain emotionally. And he said to himself, I can no longer live with myself. And what that meant to him was there was an I and there was a self. And the I was observing the self, which was made up of the thoughts and the feelings. And the I was the observer of all of it. And that he really had to find a way to not live with that. And there was a separation between the I and the self. And what I've been trying to practice is that conscious awareness of all my thoughts, all my feelings, and realizing that I'd say 90% of the time I have a fear reaction to most things, which I think comes from having a Holocaust background. So because of that, I think I was just raised in that kind of fear. And I'm aware of it. And I used to react to it in a very strong way. I would attack because I was afraid. I didn't even know it was really fear, to tell you the truth. But I realized how much of the time I feel that feeling, and I'm observing it in myself. So that's the change for me this week, is just being the observer. And that at least puts a little space in between my reactivity, and and the content of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and today, Judy, is going to be, thank you for sharing that. Today is going to be, that's actually perfect, because today we're talking about, insecure emotions, content of thinking, that it's never about what you're thinking. We're going to point you beyond that today. So actually, what you
Right.
just said goes beautiful for what we have going on today. So that's great, Judy. Yeah, definitely. Oh, we can't hear you, Lori. Oh, you're muted. You're muted. Okay, there you go.
And we're going to make it a whole lot simpler for you.
Yes, much simpler.
Beyond a doing.
Yeah.
We're going to show you an understanding of this, so that it doesn't require, it just sounded like you're working.
Yeah.
I'm actually not working. I'm noticing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm noticing, which helps me not be so reactive. That's really, because once you have awareness, the possibilities of changing are greater, I think. You get more choice.
Oh, yeah. Awareness. Yeah, we'll talk about that too. Absolutely.
Good.
Being aware of being aware. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Judy. Thank you.
Yeah.
Scarlett, you want to introduce yourself, since it's your first time with the group?
Do you want me to video or not video?
Yeah, video is fine, because
whatever you like. Yeah, we can see
we
you.
won't see you anyway on the recording.
Oh, that's a good, I wouldn't care. So, I just really enjoyed listening to everybody introduce myself. I became aware of the principles in 06, way after Lori and probably Lynn too, when when we were having concerns about families that we were working with being in such bad shape that we were scared we couldn't help them. And so our hospital system and United Way had gone together to bring 3 principals trainers in.
Oh.
And so it was lovely. Lots of people were being trained at the same time. So the director of the program and I went, it's a restorative justice program with the police in West Des Moines. And we were just sort of blown away. It helped us so much individually. So we started sharing it with the families and the kids. It's a pretty intensive program that works with both the kids and the families. And they have study tables and activities, volunteer activities, and circles, restorative circles. Anyway, we started seeing huge shifts in ourselves and in others. And one of the ways I've talked to Lori about this, it was extra helpful, is at that time I was married to somebody who just could not quit drinking. And I recognized that if I would come home and he'd been drinking, that it was to realize that it was my thinking about him that would cause me to have a bad night, so that I could go ahead and look in another direction and create a nice evening for myself, no matter what was going on with him most of the time.
Wow.
So that's me. I help with families with 3 principles and do a family class with other facilitators on the 3 principles.
Oh my gosh, how beautiful. How beautiful is that, Scarlett? Wow.
Thanks. Well, I feel lucky to be included in the group.
Nice. Absolutely. Wow, great stuff. You said, I could spend an hour talking about what you just said. It's just incredible, but
You
not
got
now,
other
but
things to
that's
talk
wonderful.
about.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say because this is on my mind, what you just shared when you were married
Mhm.
and your husband was drinking. And, you just said was that, it was your thinking about his situation that created your feeling. See, that's where the gold is. That's called mental health,
Yes.
mental well-being, because you're not being a victim innocently. You
Mhm.
don't feel good because of what's happening in your household. Is it realistic what's happening? I mean, obviously, unfortunately, it's a situation. You're not ignoring it, but that's what you call taking your power in. You're using your inner spiritual power to decide, no, my feelings don't come from him. It's coming
Mhm.
from how I'm using this gift of thought. And that's why these principles protect us. When people don't know this, they spend a
Right.
lifetime of suffering. And
Mhm.
they try to, make sure that husband changes when more than likely, we don't have control over that. So
Right.
you created a whole different situation than someone who doesn't have a deep level of understanding of the principles. That's the beautiful part of this work.
So
When
Can
you
you
really
say what the
understand how you
principles
work.
are again?
Oh,
What
sure,
what are-
Judy. Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
don't know
So
what
you know what?
they-
Let's start off with that, Lori. You want to start off with that? We can do that. We'll put everybody's video off, and I think that'll be a great place to start with. Yeah. Thank you, Judy. So yeah,
Yeah, I
Lori,
don't-
I think
yeah.
that's great, Judy. Thank you. I think it's worth it to talk about the principles again, but I'll share what I know, then Lori will share. But the 3
I just
principles.
wanted to tag a little bit on Scarlett first, if
Yeah.
that's okay.
Go ahead. Yeah,
Just for a
go ahead.
minute.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point out to all of us, it's a good reminder for me too, that the amazing thing about an understanding of how we
Yes.
work, an understanding of these principles as the formless energy behind the workings of us as humans, is that Scarlett, to use Scarlett's example, that was an outgrowth
Yes.
of her understanding. The fact that she realized his behavior doesn't have to do with me. His behavior is his behavior. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to be critical of
Exactly.
it. I don't have to want him to change. I don't have to do anything at all. All I have to do is realize that I'm a thinker.
Exactly.
And if I'm thinking about
exactly.
it, I'm the one who will suffer.
Yes. Yes.
I mean,
yes.
how remarkable is that? That is the outcome It's the outcome of understanding.
Yes.
So Scarlett didn't have to remind herself not to get upset. She didn't have to
Nothing.
brace herself coming back
Right.
home. I'm going to come home and I'm going to see he's drunk and I have to brace myself for it. That would be like, you know, some form of behavior modification or a technique. That's what's so remarkable about
Yes.
this understanding, is that the things that everybody wants, it's what is a
Yes.
natural occurrence
Exactly.
from
Exactly.
understanding.
Yeah,
Just
that's the thing.
understanding how
She
we
doesn't
work.
have to, exactly. It's not about fixing our feelings, emotions, reactions. It's not about fixing. It's about understanding. And when you understand, all that falls away. Like with Scarlett's situation. And that's the beauty of it. You know, we wouldn't go to a Honda dealership, try to work on a car if we didn't know how it worked, right? We could add no value there. We would screw it all up, right? So when we don't really know innocently how we really work, we run into all kinds of things. But yeah, Lori, you're absolutely right. What Lori just said to Judy is the three principles are spiritual, which means they're formless energy. You can't see them, you can't taste them, you can't touch them. They are the backdrop of our human experience. Every single human being creates from using this spiritual energy of mind, thought, and consciousness. And these are just metaphors, because where we're pointing you is not outside, not in a book, not even in a guru, because they don't even, many of them similarities, but they don't know this part. So what we're really pointing you is inward, in our inner, we call it, I always say, the space within, and which you can't see, your soul. I say not really the soul at this point, but this is the creative part of us. And we use a mind is like the energy behind life. Some people say God, some people say creative intelligence, or I don't know, whatever else they use, but that's the power behind life. And without that, we wouldn't be here. And we're all part of this energy, this universal energy. And then we have thought, right? Thought is the Play-Doh that creates our thinking, that we use to create our personal thinking, which is form. So our spiritual part of the spiritual energy of the power and gift of thought, can't see it, but it creates, we use it to create thinking out of it. When we don't know it, we think we have to do something about our thinking, which we never do. And then we have consciousness, as Judy was saying, which is awareness, but on a deeper level, it's so much more. But that allows us, these are gifts. We're born with them innate, allows us to be aware of being aware. And awareness always does the heavy lifting for us. As Lori's saying, we don't need a technique. We don't have to watch ourselves, nothing. Because awareness, once we see it, it does its job behind the scenes. But these are three gifts. They all go together. You can't have one without the other. They're not separate. They're not tied to mindfulness. They're not tied to yoga. They're not tied to any modality out there, because this isn't a modality. We just share on what creates your experience of life. Moment to moment to moment, we do. And our experience of life comes through us from this, from these three principles. But I know Lori's going to add a whole lot more.
No, actually, no. I mean, that pretty much covers it.
They're
The only
simple.
thing I
It's
would-
really simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing I would add is that all those modalities are the result of mind, thought, and consciousness.
Right.
You couldn't create a modality.
Right,
You
without
couldn't
it.
create yoga. You couldn't create a painting. You couldn't create a symphony. You couldn't create a dance or theory without the ability to think.
To think, right.
So that's
And
the real
yes,
power,
yes,
is that
yes.
we have the ability to
Ability to
create
think, right,
through thought
right.
and
Exactly,
be
Lori. We have,
conscious of our
exactly.
creation.
Yes, we have the power to think. It's not so much, well, probably getting into it a little bit here, but it's not about the content of our thinking at all, because that changes moment to moment. We create that, and that comes so fast we don't even realize it. But what we're pointing you is beyond the content of your thinking, because that's not a problem. And when we don't know this, we tend to think we have to do something with our thinking, stop it, change it, tap on it, watch it, observe it, quiet the voices, but it's thinking. It's made from the power and gift of thought. That's how powerful we are. So when we begin to see it through consciousness, self-awareness on how we're feeling insecure, that's all we need. Anytime we feel insecure, that's a little love tap. It's time to come back to the present moment of, what's in that moment of, right in that moment, we fall back into our default feature, of well-being. And that's the beautiful part of all of this, when you really understand at a deep level that we're really designed perfectly, just like our digestive system. People go, well, I've got a, fast, blah, 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 right? But our digestive system is designed perfectly to fast at nighttime, right? After dinner, whatever, then, all night, and then you eat again in the morning. We're designed perfectly too. Our thinking changes on its own. We don't have to change our thinking because we can't. We're not made with that burden. And it's, that's the power that we really have inside of us, because when we don't know it, we can misuse this gift of thought to suffer, to create a situation in our head using the gift of thought that isn't so helpful. And then we end up, we're like in a trance. We believe it, we think something's wrong. But so it's, even my life, I wasn't aware I was a thinker. And when you're not aware of you're a thinker, you always fall back in, more than likely, your regular schedule program, unless, you're into the principles, but, or other things as well, prior to this, but it's dangerous. I think about my father, he's 87, going to be 88, God bless him. He still talks about when he was 8 years old. Any conversation is always about the past. He still thinks he's poor. So he lives in his habitual preconditioned, really thought-created reality. So when we don't evolve and grow in life, this is unfortunately what happens, right? Because we all have these infinite levels of consciousness. Just fascinating, the power that we really have. Yeah. Oh, can't hear you, Laura.
I keep muting myself
Oh.
whenever you're talking,
Oh.
and then I forget to unmute. So, anybody have any questions so far?
So far, yeah, because we said a lot.
I don't really, I have to say, I don't really understand what you're talking about.
That's okay. We didn't either for a long time. Judy.
I really don't get it. I mean,
No worries.
because like when I thought about what Scarlett was saying, it sounded to me like what she was sharing was that, no matter how her husband was, she made the decision. She just wasn't going to really think about it. But then you were saying that to not think about it, I don't know, there was something about that sounded a little contradictory. So I'm trying to understand it,
Yeah,
but
that's okay.
I don't. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know what? It's not an intellectual understanding anyway.
Good.
So the more that you
That's
just
all
kind of
right.
fall out of your head, you're fine.
Yeah.
But what Scarlett's saying, not that she didn't choose to think about it, she made a choice not to blame her husband or go, oh my gosh, I'm going to have a lousy night because he's drunk, because she knows that he can't make her feel otherwise, that her
Right.
feelings regarding her husband only come from the way she's
Right.
thinking about him. So
Right.
she decided that I don't have to go that route because I know that, I have more power than that. I just decided I'm not going down that route because I
Right.
know where my feelings come from, where if somebody else didn't, it would be a whole different other ballgame. Might have been some arguments. She's not waiting for him to change. She's, she just realized that her experience of life comes from her, not him.
Right.
Through thinking, through the way she thinks. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, here's another example of that. I think
Yeah, definitely.
Stories really have helped me
Yes,
to
helpful.
see things.
Mhm.
There was a woman back when I was first exposed to the principles, it was like 1985. And I knew a woman, I don't know if Scarlett heard the name, Darlene Jenks, lovely lady. and she was a counselor. She was learning the principles. And I know Scarlett and Lynn also know Joe Bailey
Mhm.
in Minnesota. And Darlene had Joe as her supervisor. So she was telling Joe that she's in this new marriage. And the husband, she's got these stepkids who are still in public school, and her kids are grown. She was older than him, I guess. And so she's coming home after work, and these kids, they're sitting in front of the TV. They hadn't done their homework. They hadn't done their chores. She is ready to divorce her new husband. And she said she's tried everything. So Joe says to her, well, Darlene, what are you thinking about when you're driving home from work? And she says, well, I'm thinking about what I can do to get these kids to fall in line. And Joe looked at her and he said, Darlene, forget about it. Turn on the radio, look at the scenery. And she got it. She realized, yeah, it's my own state of mind that's the only thing I have any control over.
Yeah.
You can set out, this is my expectation, these are your chores, blah, blah, blah. If they don't do it, you can either drive yourself bonkers, how you're thinking about it or not. Now, here's the kicker. She literally, it was off her radar when she got that her thinking is all that matters, because that's what's giving her experience of irritation. So one day, like weeks, maybe even months, I don't know how long, it was definitely weeks that went by. She's opening, she's got the key in the doorknob, opening the door. The kids, these two kids, come to greet her. They had done their chores and they had done their homework.
Wow.
She just loved those kids. After, she said her piece, she was done with getting on their case. She was enjoying her ride home. She was in a nice state of mind. We're talking about levels of consciousness pretty soon. She was in a higher level of consciousness and a nice mood. And lo and behold, what a surprise out of nowhere. It's not like Scarlett did something expecting her husband would catch on. It's not like Darlene did anything expecting the kids would catch on. Whatever, the chips fall where they may, it's not our responsibility.
Yeah. Great story. Great story. See, when they, that's because also too, I'm sure she wasn't reacting the same way all the time. And, the kids, that's the thing, when you don't really react the same way, the other person sees that, or these kids in that case, just like years ago, I'd be on the highway. I hate to admit this, but I'm going to admit it, driving along and you get these crazy people who cut you off. I would be so outraged. I would hit my foot to the gas and boom, I'd follow them. I'd be like, oh yeah, I wanted to was I tailgating them. I'm looking, I'm like, oh my God, I'm at 80, 85. So that, I would just be crazed. And then, that would be it. But once I came to this understanding, doesn't even bother me anymore. I'm just happy I didn't get hurt or killed or anything at all like that. It's just okay, I can't do anything about it. Why get angry? Because I see I'm doing that to myself because it's the way I'm thinking about this lunatic who's driving, but here's the danger though, Lori. I always use the word illusion, magic trick, because for all my life, I thought that my angry feelings were coming from the car, from the driver, just like anything in life. My upset is coming because of my ex-husband or because my kids, left my room, the room's a mess or whatever. It looks and feels like it, that it's coming from other people or our past or situations, but it's not. The part that's missing is that we're the thinkers creating the experience. That's the understanding that these principles bring, is that we're creating our own experience via thought, because everybody lives in a thought created reality. We don't live by circumstance. And, you know, some people, some of my clients would say, oh, Lynn, if my circumstances would be different, my life would be different. No, not at all. You know, it's a look, and there's proof out there in the real world where people have overcome crazy things. But that's the beauty of this, is knowing that we're the creators of our own of anxiety, of depression, just the way that we're misusing innocently this gift of thought. Because when you don't know about it, you don't use your freedom and free will like you would normally as much, you know? Yeah. Good
Yeah.
stuff. Good stuff.
We have so much more control over our experience as far as
Yes.
the feeling of our experience than
Yeah.
certainly than I've realized.
Me too.
I definitely thought that I was the victim of my circumstances, that my depression, my sadness, my anxiety was all the result of what was happening to me. Yeah. Wow. Whew. I mean, it's remarkable to see that it's only coming from what's on our mind in the moment.
In the moment.
And I
Yeah.
still get crappy moments, but they're really short-lived, And they never get to the depth of crappiness
Right.
that they used to. The intensity
Yeah.
is like bing, you know, not like thud. And then I stayed there for who knows how long, because I'd be dwelling on it and thinking about how can I change this? I've got to, you know, create something other than this, or, you know, blah, 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 blah. I would just like keep thinking about it. You do what you need to do and let it go and be done with it. It's over, it's done with.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
I'll tell you another trick is do what you need to do when you're in a higher level.
Yes.
Don't do what you think you need to do when you're really disgruntled, right?
Yeah.
It might be the next day, it might be 2 days, it might even be a week before you feel good enough to decide if you know, how you want to handle something.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, and now you're speaking of like levels of consciousness, and, you know, most people, even including myself, think that a low mood is a problem. Well, it looks like a problem when you don't know where that experience is coming from, you know. And we have high moods and low moods moment to moment, because thought is the only reason why we're in a low mood or a high mood. You know, it's thought that's moving through. Oftentimes our thinking is out to lunch, and, you know, we took the wrong turn down south, so to speak. Not really the wrong turn, because we can always find our way back. So these low moods just let us know that, you know, we're in a lower level of thinking. And I know when I'm in a low mood, I don't know what thought, I don't worry about that, because that's crazy. You can't really, because we get so many. I just know that I'm in a low mood. I realize where it's coming from. I know when I wake up to it, which is very quick now, because I don't like feeling that way. And I just take care of myself. I don't make any videos when I'm in a low mood. You know, there's certain things, even I won't write when I'm in a low mood. And I just take care of myself. And soon enough, I can trust the process, because I know how we work. I know soon enough, I don't know the time it's going to happen, I'm going to feel better, because my mood will shift, because consciousness does the heavy lifting. I'm aware that I'm in a low mood, and I leave it alone. I don't look for a reason why. I don't need to. And I just know that the process will work, and soon I'll be in a better mood. And I am. And then I'll go and make my videos, or, you know, write or do whatever it is I have to do when I'm in that higher mood. Absolutely. But again, when you don't know where that low mood, that you're creating it, that where it's coming from. It looks like it could be because of something outside of you. You know, I'll share this, that Mark Howard, I think I might have shared this before, had a client, older gal, I think she was 80. She said, Mark, I've never been happy. So would you work with me? Sure. And he says, what do you mean you've never been happy? Are you ever happy? Oh, she says, of course I am. When I wake up in the morning, I feel great. He says, then what happens? I put my slippers on and I go make my coffee, and I remember I was a lousy wife. You know, I didn't do what I really wanted to do in life. I really wasn't a great mother. So what do you think happened? Her thinking knocked her out of happiness, the present moment, and brought her to feeling anxious and depressed. She had no idea she was a thinker. And it looks like it was because of her past and all this other stuff, but the past is gone. She only kept the past alive via thought, which constantly changes, right? And it doesn't mean it's true, right? Because any insecure thinking we have, the content of our thinking isn't true. It's just that we believed it for so long that people have been taught to analyze their emotions, to, you know, do whatever else they've been trained to do. But the thing is, it doesn't tell you who you are as a person, what you can do, what you can't do. There's no information data in an emotion, only that your thinking went south. Thank God we're designed that way, because once consciousness notices it, that's our red flag to come back to the present moment. And it's okay to feel it, absolutely, but you can feel your emotions, of course, but when you know what they are, they don't seem like a big deal. It doesn't seem like that you have to, you know, get intense and watch it. You know, this is so much made up stuff out there. It just happens. It just flows through you. It's not a big deal when you see it for what it is. But innocently, when you don't, people think it's wrong to feel their insecure emotions, or they have to manage their emotions, which is impossible because it's always thought moves too fast. You could never manage your emotions. And why would you? Why? But anyhow, that's the beauty of these level of consciousness. I don't know if anybody could see this. This is a consciousness ladder, right? And at the very bottom of the ladder is like fear and guilt and anger and worry and frustration. So that's when we're in a lower level of consciousness. What creates that? Our thinking, right? Our insecure thinking. But as our consciousness goes upwards, it ascends upwards. Now we have confidence, happiness, optimism, love, all of that. But we come up and down this infinite, invisible ladder, so to speak, moment to moment to moment. You know, I'll share this and then I'll let you talk, because I didn't know this back then. When I was married, my husband would come home from work, my ex-husband now, he traveled a lot. So when he was home, he had a big job and he was always stressed out, right? I would like kind of dread, I didn't have this understanding. I would dread when he came home because he'd be grouchy, right? Then he'd go upstairs, change his clothes. With less than 5 minutes, he'd come down whistling. I'm like, what? What is up with this guy? Are you kidding me? And he'd be fine. And then, you know, sometimes he'd go back. He must have been doing a lot of thinking and he'd get grouchy again. And then, well, you know, after a little while, kids, he'd be laughing with the kids. But that just cracked me up all the time. I thought, what is he, bipolar or something? It was the strangest thing. But now I see it for what it is. He had a lot of fast thought moving through. He was thinking. His level of consciousness shift. By the time he got upstairs, he loosened up the grip, right? Got dressed, changed, whatever, came back down, he was whistling. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Isn't that too funny?
He was moving like this, right?
Exactly.
Up and down, up and down.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. Now, you know, back then I didn't have this understanding. You would think something would be wrong with him, but that's not true. He was perfectly normal. Hard to believe. Yeah, it's just crazy. And here's the thing that I've come to see also, Lori, I'll share this. the more we begin to see this on a, deep level, like you're saying, you don't stay long in these lower moods. You spend less time there. And then what happens over time, you move away from your conditioned patterns of thinking when you were raised and your belief system. You spend less time there because, you know how you work, it's just conditioned patterns. You begin to spend more time at a higher level of consciousness. Your quality of thinking changes naturally, but it's a better flow. So you don't have the dips as much as before. And I know that's true for me, that I've experienced. I don't never go as low as I used to go. Never, never. Could I go low? Sure. We all fall in the human condition of thinking. It's only thinking that does that. And I know that. I live that. That's how I embody it. And I don't spend much time there anymore. But as you ascend up, which is infinite, you're in that better flow of thinking. I'm sure you find that too.
And more clarity when
Yes, more clarity.
when you're less burdened, if you're not burdened with trying to
Right.
figure out why you're
Yes,
not in a good
yes,
place. When you're not
yes.
burdened, it's like, you're more carefree.
Yeah.
You're
yeah.
just in a more lighthearted. You see the humor more in life.
Yeah.
Things don't get to you like they do when you're in
Absolutely.
those lower moods. Who I think of moods is a quality of thinking.
Yes.
Higher moods are just higher quality thoughts.
Exactly.
Like I can have an upsetting thought and then see a puppy at the park, with the tail wagging and the funny little prance or something, and boom,
Yeah.
I'm in a great mood. That crappy thought is gone, just like just disappeared. And if there's something for us to that we need to consider, it's not like we're shoving everything under the carpet. We're not walking around like Pollyanna. If you have to consider, well, how much do I want to contribute to this cause? When should I start working on my taxes? Blah, 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 blah. You do those things, but you don't have to get upset about it. It's just like when I find that living at a higher level, I just see things more clearly. Like knowing that nothing can affect me. I mean, that is mind blowing in my world, because I see it quite a bit. This really crappy thing. Well, but it doesn't affect me. Doesn't affect me in the here and now. It's a crappy thing. I'm certainly not going to, move into that crappy experience. But it's a lifesaver. Honestly, it's a lifesaver in my world.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where the power really comes from, is having this understanding, because we are powerful, whether we know it or not. But I just spend for myself less time in a lower mood, and it can happen, absolutely, but I see it more and more, and I'm like, why go down that path? Why we're so powerful, right? I just choose to just stay in my power. I love it because I live powerless most of my life. And I just love it. And I find that, I have more bandwidth, absolutely, because I'm not worried about who said what to me. I'm feeling guilty. When I was getting divorced, I didn't have this understanding. I would go and wash clothes. My kids they were older. They'd be either college, one was still at college, the other one was working and stuff. But I'd go and wash my husband's underwear and wash the clothes. I felt so guilty because I had moved out. It's awful. It's a helpless feeling, and loaded with guilt. Little did I know It was the way I was thinking about it. I had no clue, absolutely no clue. And that's the danger in it. That's the danger. And you have so much more freedom in your life, so much more bandwidth to really enjoy life. You know, I don't think I ever enjoyed life as much as I am now. Better late than never.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
There's
So
a
maybe
saying that just came to my mind. I love this saying. George Pransky came out with this. He said, the trick to life is be grateful for your highs and graceful with your lows.
yeah, yeah,
I just love
absolutely.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, when you really gain this understanding, it's incredible. I was looking at Sid's The Missing Link about the consciousness. It's obviously similar what you just said, Lori. But as our consciousness descends, we lose our feelings of love and understanding and experience a world of emptiness, bewilderment, and despair. As our consciousness ascends, we regain purity of thought and in turn regain our feelings of love and understanding. You know,
That is so true.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it
Yeah.
bears reading again.
Yeah, absolutely. As our consciousness descends, we lose our feelings of love and understanding and experience a world of emptiness, bewilderment, and despair. As our consciousness ascends, we regain purity of thought, capital T thought, and in turn, we regain our feelings of love and understanding. And I'm going to go as far as read one more because this is a passion of mine. Mental health lies within the consciousness of all human beings, but it is shrouded and held prisoner by our own erroneous thoughts. That's pretty powerful. See, everybody is sitting on a gold mine of mental health, but because people in this country erroneously make contingencies, oh, such and such doesn't have mental health because of this or because of that, but it's only and always shrouded by contamination of thinking, insecure thinking. Once our thinking clears, we always land in well-being 100% of the time. So see, we're designed perfectly, but when we don't know it, people suffer from poor mental health. And I had a client who suffered, she was 68 years old several years back. And when she stopped, she had a very horrific, terrible tragedy in her past and lost a daughter and just awful. But she just talked about it all the time to everybody. And when she stopped talking about it, you know, and a week later, she had mental health. She went from being the bottom of the barrel depressed to feeling good. And she said, oh my gosh, I just didn't know I even had these feelings in me. And they were all coming from her either way. But when you don't really realize what's happening, it's a slippery slope, because it looks like those, you know, mental health is coming from outside, but that's not true. It's just, it's fascinating. Fascinating. Mental health, I should say, or well-being, same thing, is only found in the present moment. You can't have well-being if you're talking about any past. Well-being, I see it in my father all the time. Well-being doesn't exist in your past. Well-being isn't found in the future. It's not found in the past. It's a state of mind. And you can only have mental well-being, mental health in the moment, when you're in the here and the now. Fascinating, fascinating. That's my next article, mental health, a whole bunch of stuff on mental health. I always thought I needed a doctor and credibility. You don't, because they don't understand thinking. And that's, you know, it's all about your thinking, which creates poor mental health. But a good way and a bad way. But I think it's bare educating people on.
mental
So
illness, yeah.
questions, yeah, exactly. Questions.
Like Dr. Pettit, the psychiatrist in the
Yes,
Midwest,
yes.
says that he never had any education in mental health throughout medical school. He only learned
Imagine.
about mental illness. He learned about mental health from someone with a 9th grade education who was a
Yes,
welder.
he did. Absolutely. Sid. Yeah. And he cries when he tells the story.
Yeah.
He cries and he said, never one mental health course at all, only a mental illness. How sad. How sad. The guy's incredible. Yeah. He's added, contributed a lot to this world. That's for sure. Yeah. Oh, so we said lots of things. Anyone have questions, comments, stories, anything at all? We are open.
Any ahas? Any insights? Any? You know, an insight is sometimes like you realize that you've always known something, except you didn't realize you knew it.
Yeah.
You know that feeling? Like, oh my gosh, I
Yeah.
knew this when I was 4, but I forgot about it. The
Yeah.
fact that we're just always. Another one of Sid's quotes I love is, we're always one thought away from a better experience.
Absolutely.
That's so
Absolutely.
heavy, as in
Yeah.
profound. That's
Mhm.
so profound. When I was in high
And-
school, we used to say, that's heavy.
But even anyone, you know, just in general here, if you notice the last time, I love using this example because I never knew this years ago. You know, I'm sure many of us on the call here, even before this understanding, being exposed to it, at times you felt like in a good mood just for no reason, right? You might have felt contentment, because contentment is mental health, right? Mental well-being, or happy, or just kind of peaceful. And I know I've had those times in my life. Oh, bless you. Has anybody had those before and that you've noticed?
Of what, contentment?
Yeah, just feeling good for no reason, not attached to anything on the outside.
Yeah,
Yeah, there you go, Judy. Yeah,
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 of course.
beautiful. Yeah, I've
Mostly
seen
when I'm
it.
not thinking.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Had a girl, Judy. Yeah, you're right.
Exactly.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, I'll share this story for an example. So years and years ago, I lost my brother-in-law. He was young. He was in his early 60s, and it was a long battle. And you know, I was helping my sister, and it was just a horrible situation. So after he had passed, you know, we got the house organized again and all of that. And so one day we decided to go to this meditation, and they had essential oils. So my sister says, oh, why don't we go? It was on a Saturday, and I wanted to get her out a bit, you know. I said, oh, sure, let's go. So we go, and oh my gosh, they played this beautiful music, and we had like 3 or 4 different oils, and it was just lovely. And it was probably about an hour, hour and a half. Well, I got to tell you, we could barely get up. We were so relaxed, so peaceful, so calm. And at that time, you know, we were laughing. And then the guy that did, I said to my sister, oh my God, I think I'm in love with this man. I said, I am feeling so good. These oils, we attributed our good, relaxed, peaceful feeling to these essential oils. And I share this because it certainly looked like it was coming from there. And we just felt great. But I see now what really happened, because I know how we worked. My sister and I came out of our thinking, our thoughts about my brother-in-law and everything we'd been through and all these crazy things we had going on. We just dropped out of our overthinking brain all the time. And when we dropped out, let me tell you, we felt incredible. Incredible. It's funny to see that now, but it is relaxed. It's a great experience. I wouldn't never take that back, but I see really what happened behind the scenes, you know. Interesting.
I think it's so easy to have beliefs that we think, well, in that horrible situation, there's no way that my mental health can come back. And, you
Yes.
think about, I hear Judy talk about the concentration camps, but the fact that we really have known this at the end, the one person that I used to think it was just his personality and his education, that Viktor Frankl was able to live through that horrible situation. However, I think it was that he knew that he had to look at things in a different way, that he
Yeah.
was able to be in a better place. And it's that we all have that capacity is what's so amazing, is that everybody has mental health inside them.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I
Wow.
love that. I mean, that
Yeah.
story of Viktor Frankl is amazing, isn't it? That he saw it was up to him. That happens rarely in life. I mean, would not have
Especially
happened to
that
me without my
situation. Right,
understanding. I'm not even
exactly.
sure with my understanding of the principles if I was in that
Right.
situation. Who
Right.
knows, But yeah,
Yeah.
it's quite amazing. That was
It is.
enlightenment.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I laugh at myself when I look at my skin and the aging part, that I can get into a low mood, which is
Uh-huh.
just so crazy. It's not
Yeah.
worth it, right?
Yes, exactly, Scarlett, exactly. Yeah, you're so
Yeah, I
right.
love it when we recognize our own craziness. Like,
Yes.
really? What are we doing?
Exactly.
I know. I
Exactly.
go there too.
Yeah. Even our own resilience. The other day I was having lunch with my daughter-in-law's mother, and she's just lovely. And she had lost her mother about 2 years ago. And she said, I got to tell you, Lynn, I never thought I would recover. She said, I was able to go to my aunt's, last holiday season. She said, and they showed me pictures when my mother was little. She said, over a year ago, I could not have done that. And she said, I could now sit here and talk to you about my mother without being hysterical. And I said, Sarah, you bounced back. You have resiliency in you. And she was like, I guess so. It's amazing the capabilities that we really have to literally bounce back from things in life, and we don't realize it. We don't realize it. Yeah, it's interesting.
You know what thought just crossed my mind listening to that
Mhm.
story, Lynn? What crossed my mind was, oh my goodness, what a gift she had.
Yes.
That she was so close to her mother.
Yes. Yeah,
That she would have
exactly.
such an extreme reaction for such a
Yeah.
period of time.
Yeah.
To me, that looked
Absolutely.
like a gift.
Yeah,
Isn't that
that's a good point,
interesting?
Lori. I never thought about it that way. Absolutely. Yeah. Beautiful.
It's all how we think about things, isn't it? I mean,
Yes,
I didn't
absolutely.
conjure that thought up. That
Yeah,
thought just
just
came
came
to
in.
me. I didn't,
Wisdom. Gotta
try
love
to
it.
think
Gotta love
of
it.
I didn't try to think of a good thing.
Yeah.
It just came to me
Yeah.
like, wow, what a gift.
Absolutely. And she had a beautiful relationship with her mother. Absolutely. Very,
Wow.
very nice. Yeah. Yep, you're right, Lori. Great way of seeing that.
That's like Judy was saying at the beginning, how we're aware of our own thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an automatic process.
Yeah.
Because we can't be aware of the thinking we're not aware of.
Exactly.
Try it, right? Did
Yeah.
anybody ever try that? Be aware of thinking that you're not aware of?
Yeah. Can't happen, right?
We
Yeah.
do a lot of it. There's a lot of thinking we're not aware of. There's stuff in our blind
Yes.
spots, right? We call it in our
Yeah.
blind spot.
Absolutely. I know I got a call from one of my previous clients this afternoon. And she said, oh, Lynn, I got to talk to you again. So, we set up a bunch of sessions. But she said, I said, what's going on? And she said, well, I know it's got something to do with my thinking again. She said, but you know what? I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. I should be doing this. She had had a heart attack 2 years ago, which is on a total, she's, probably my age. and is why she began to make some changes in her life. And so she has some idea, once again, because she hasn't stayed in the conversation, that it has something to do with her thinking. But I said, no, but we'll help you out, no problem. But I said to her, your wisdom guided you to call, which is great. You know, that she realizes that she's got to get a hold of her health again. So yeah,
Yeah,
interesting how that
absolutely.
we just know it's time, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the wisdom in that session with the oils and just
Yeah.
realizing sometimes you just need to stop and do something different
Yes.
yourself.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And sometimes it's just stop and look out the window.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Doesn't have to be hard.
Yeah, exactly. Just to come on, you know, I studied with Richard Bandler. We did neuro-linguistic programming. This was years ago, because I was always looking for something that could really help people. And at that point, I had no idea, but it was all about neuro-linguistic programming was all about doing something about the content of your thinking, you know. And oh gosh, I'm losing what I see. My thought just came and left. That's how fast and transient thought is. But it was always about doing something about your thinking, as if it really was a problem, you know. And I'm losing what I wanted to share with everybody, but it'll come back.
It's
It'll come
beautiful,
back.
though, right? Like that's the prevalent thinking in the world,
Yes.
that there's
yes,
something wrong with the thinking that's already left the barn.
Yeah.
It's like trying to bring the horses back in the barn. They've already left. Let them go, you know?
Gone. It's gone. Yeah, absolutely.
When
Yeah.
people see that the thoughts we have are ether, I mean, they're not even ether because that's form, right?
Yeah.
They're not form. It's just a passing thought. It's like energy that has taken shape,
Form. Right. Right.
the shape of I'm gonna have to buy something to eat dinner because I don't have anything good in the refrigerator. You know, any thought,
Right. Right.
any thought
right,
we could
right.
have. Why would you do something to change? Or my brother is so hard to get along with. Well, why would I think that twice? Where's that going to bring me? Or why would I try to not think that? That just
Yeah.
doesn't, you know, and it used to make sense. We went through all sorts of fads like positive thinking, right? When it looked
Yeah.
like a good idea to change a thought, that doesn't mean anything except for the meaning we attach to it, which is just more thought.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know, one thing too, you're right, you bring up a very good point. And this is what was missing when I was learning this neurolinguistic programming, that the reason it's so compelling, and let's be honest, you know, it is so compelling thought that it feels real, because it really is real if you think about it, because thought produces feelings, right? And these feelings, this energy you're talking about, is moving through our 5 senses. And it's coming alive. We're feeling it, tension and pain and whatever it might be, butterflies, we're feeling it. And it feels real because it is real, moving through our body. But when we don't know this, we think it's it appears to be a problem, really, because people don't want to suffer with stress and anxiety and panic attacks. Like I was telling Lori before, I was at the car wash this afternoon. You park your car and then the machine moves. So for a minute there, I looked up and I thought, oh my God, my car is moving. And I got scared for a second. Then I realized, oh no, this happens all the time. It's an illusion, because it looks like and it feels like the car is moving, but it's the machines that are moving. Just like thought, right? It looks so scary. It can feel scary, no question about it, because we don't know the source of it. When you think the source of your feelings are coming anywhere outside of you other than thought, it does look like a good idea to do something about your thinking, no question. But when you know the source, you can have that experience just move through you. It doesn't have to take you over. That's the difference, you know? Yeah. You know, in neurolinguistic programming, they had this thing one day that they taught us that, you know, a lot of people were haunted by the voices in their head from their past. Their teachers said they want to mount anything, and their perfectionist mother said crazy things to them. And, you know, they live with that all of their life. And, you know, you come to see it now, it's really all thought. But what they were doing was having them change the voice to a Mickey Mouse voice. And, you know, when whatever their mother said to them, it seemed hysterical when it was a Mickey Mouse voice. So they were trying to literally play with the content of the thinking, which really is just, again, you know, energy moving through you, but it appears real because it is when you don't know the source. Yeah. So I know we said lots of stuff here. Any questions, comments, thoughts? Everybody's quiet tonight. That's okay. Sometimes it's nice just to listen, right? Judy, how's that feeling for you? Any different than when you first came in? I'm just curious.
No, not really.
No,
It's
okay,
pretty
that's
much
okay.
the same.
That's okay. It's not an intellectual understanding anyway. And
Yeah,
you know, you'll see
right.
things when you see it. That's okay. Perfectly
Right.
fine. Yep, absolutely. It's normal. Very normal.
Yeah.
Very normal. Yeah. Oh, somebody's doggy's barking.
Yeah,
How cute.
that's it.
Oh,
I don't know how to mute myself so that
Oh,
you
that's
can.
okay. No worries. No worries. We're
All right.
animal lovers here. No worries.
Okay.
Yeah. So anything else to add, Lori? Oh, she
You
can't.
know, I don't think so. I don't know. What about Karen or Scarlett? You have anything you want to add? We
You know,
said a
there's,
lot.
oh, go ahead. We said a lot. One more thing. I just want to leave us with this at least. This is why we must, this is what Sid says. This is why we must look past our contaminated thoughts to find the purity and wisdom that lies inside our own consciousness. Because when we allow, once our, you know, we allow the insecure thinking to fall away, that from these contaminated thoughts that we have that purity of wisdom, right? That's always in our consciousness, always available, and we always have what we need in any moment, which is beautiful. We're always guided when we come out of our head, you know, beyond the intellect. So we're always, you know, that's where that wisdom comes from, that space within. Like
And you'll
yeah.
you'll notice these things, you know, in the
Yes,
next week when you
yes,
go through your life.
Yes.
Something could hit you in the shower or, oh,
Yeah.
excuse
Oh,
me.
bless you. You're catching a
Bless
cold,
you.
Lori.
I think I've got
Bless
a
you.
cold
Oh.
brewing here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, hand her a COVID test. No, I was kidding.
Yeah. Zoom to the rescue, right? Just teasing, Lori. Yeah, Lori's right. You know what? You notice these things as you go throughout your day. And the beautiful part of it is consciousness will alert you to it. And you'll say, oh, yeah. Oh, that sounds familiar. Or you see it in yourself because it's all an experiment anyway. So you'll begin to see what you didn't see before. That's the beauty of this. We're just pointing you to what you didn't see before. Now that you've seen it, you can't unsee it. It's impossible to unsee it. Consciousness will bring it to your attention. That's how it works.
And
As
I
you
know
say.
I don't get caught up in my thought storms like I used to. It's just like, you know, they'll happen and you just stop and it's like, wait a minute,
Yes.
what am I getting upset about?
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's a big shift for you then, Karen.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
We all have those people that, you know, it's just like, yeah, okay, whatever. No.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
And isn't it interesting too, because you hear people saying, he pushes my buttons, she pushes my buttons. It's them thinking about those people. That's
Yeah.
what they're pushing their own buttons, right? Because those
Yeah.
people could be saying and doing those things. If they're out of sight and out of mind, you're not going to be affected by it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that fascinating?
Oh, it fascinates me greatly. You know, there were people that I used to value their comments, and it's like, I just don't put weight on. I don't have thoughts about
Good.
them. It's like, okay, that's
Beautiful.
your opinion and you're entitled to it. And okay.
Wow,
Moving
that's
on.
right.
awesome.
That is beautiful.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
neutral. It doesn't mean anything to you
Yes.
anymore.
Right.
No.
What a difference, right?
Oh,
Yeah, it was crazy to me to realize that I thought my way into my personality, which
Oh.
the possibility of being
Wow.
different than I think I am is always there.
Oh.
I used
Say a
to
little
do
bit more about that,
I
Scarlett.
was
I
just
do.
going to say
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Say a little
Yeah.
more. Yeah.
I used to do a lot of behavioral styles workshops, which are different to Myers, sort of similar to Myers-Briggs and all of
Yeah.
those. And recognizing that it was so easy to stay in that category of who I thought I was, and that way I was sticking myself in a behavioral situation that I didn't have to have, that I was making life more difficult by saying that this is always who I am, and forgetting that probably there are some proclivities, some ways of being that will stick around, but still there's the possibility for stretching. And then I would decide that these other personalities, I didn't like those other personalities because they were different from what I was, which is pretty silly because that really detracts from you understanding and enjoying someone. My partner is
Yes.
totally different from me, and now I can appreciate his differences instead of thinking that
Yes.
that's weird or how could he think like that.
Yes.
Great point, Scarlett. That's such a great
Yeah,
point.
absolutely. Yeah, it does
Yeah.
make a world of difference when you can really see someone literally beyond their thinking,
Mhm.
because then we don't have judgment, we don't have criticism. We really see them. They're just like us, they're made with pure love, and they're just in their thinking like we are.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah, how nice. Oh my gosh. And yeah, our personality is always fluid on that side, right? It's Myers-Briggs, right? And people say, oh, I'm an introvert, I'm an extrovert. Yeah, everybody's both, right? Just depends. If you're in a low mood, we're all introverts, right? It depends what mood you're in. That's all. Yeah.
That's definitely
Fascinating.
true for me. Definitely.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Yeah, me too. Like even in the morning when I wake up, my coffee, I like to read. I'm very quiet. I don't take a client at 7 o'clock in the morning. A little too, I mean, I get up early, but I'm not ready for that yet. Yeah. It's a great way. Now that I'll say this just occurred to me. That is self-care, so to speak, right? That's what I say, like taking care of yourself when you're in a low mood. People think that self-care is just having your hair and your nails done or doing this or doing that to feel better. But, nothing on the outside can make us feel better on the inside. But true self-care is really knowing how you work and honoring that, taking care of yourself, listening to your wisdom and honoring the low moods, enjoying the high moods. Just a different way of looking at it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I can't think of anything else.
Yeah, oh gosh, this was a great one. Was this well, let's just go around. What sounded, starting with Judy. Judy, did something sound fresh and new for you today? Anything different that you can think of that was helpful to you today?
I think, listening to some of the stories was helpful.
Good, beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
Good, Judy. I'm glad you joined us. That's great. Karen, how about you, Karen?
I'm on break, so self-care is On my
Oh.
list.
Oh, how nice. Good
I
for you.
indulged
Enjoy
in a
your
nice
week off.
Hallmark movie yesterday
Oh, I
afternoon.
love
It was
Hallmark.
wonderful.
I love Hallmark. Yeah, good for you. Good for you, Karen. You deserve it. Absolutely. Taking good care of yourself. See, I love that.
That.
Awesome. How about you, Scarlett?
I enjoyed the fact that you said that our feelings are just a love tap, to tell us the level of consciousness that we have.
Yeah.
It's nice reminder because sometimes I
Yeah.
beat my over. I love that Dickon talks about sometimes I pick up a bat and hit myself over the head with my thinking.
I like that. That's funny. Yeah, how true
Yeah.
that is, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
for sure.
Innocently, right?
Mhm.
We still can fall in that, that's for sure.
Right.
Yeah, awesome. So I think what we'll do is Lori will send everybody the video copy of this, the recording, and maybe what we'll do is send one of Sid's. I think he has that short. Well, I don't know if we can send that because that's 3PGC, but I think it'll be helpful to send a video of Sid's too. I think that might be nice to listen to during the week. We can send you that too, and all in one email. This way you'll have all of that. Great.
I
like
think the
that.
new video that they released, it's only 20
wonderful.
minutes.
I'm gonna
Did
see if we can
anybody
get
see that, Karen or Scarlett? Did
I
you catch
listened
that?
to it again. You can find it. So I bet you could send that to them.
Yeah, then we can send
was
that. That would
helpful.
be helpful. Yes, that was incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I haven't
Lori's in
gotten
it.
there yet, so yeah,
Lori's in
send
the
it.
very beginning. In the
Yeah, if you
audience.
want to
Lori was
see
in
me
the
in
audience.
2017, oh, it's surprising people recognize me. I
You
think
look
I
great.
just got rid of that blue. I probably shouldn't tell you, but I think I had that blue shirt up until maybe 2 years ago.
We'll see.
What's that? I mean,
Nice.
that's a while, right?
Right.
That's great. See, it's timeless, timeless. But yeah, I
Some
think you'll
things are
enjoy that.
timeless, right?
It's a great video. It's just, it's, you're right. It's only like 20, 21 minutes, somewhere around there, but it's helpful.
It is for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, yeah. All right, ladies. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Hope you can all make it next week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see you
Thanks
next week.
for
We'll have
having
some
us.
new goodies next week.
Thank
Thank you.
Yeah,
Great to see
thank you.
everybody. Judy, feel
Yeah.
better.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Take care.
Take care, everyone.
Good to meet you
Yeah,
all.
you too. Have a great week.
Bye, you
Yeah.
too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, this was fun.
Oh my goodness. I'm gonna make myself some bone broth. I feel like
Yeah, I
I just
hope you
came
feel
down with
better.
something during this
Yeah.
time.
Oh,
Good
I know
idea.
you had a
Weird.
sore throat yesterday. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, go do that. Go make
Oh,
your
right, I
bone
had a
broth
sore
and
throat
relax.
yesterday. I
Yeah,
forgot about
remember you
that.
said that. Yeah.
I'm coming down with a cold.
Oh,
I mean,
oh.
Karen mentioned, oh, I've got to stop the recording. That would be good, right? I always forget to do that.
I know, I always do too.
Oh my
Want me to
gosh.
stop? Well, I can stop it here. Maybe I wonder if I can I
Can
stop
you?
it? Oh, no,
I don't know why
can't.
I'm
It
not
says
seeing where to stop it.
ask for- Usually it goes by record.
Stop
There's- or
recording. There
There's a
it
little
is.
button.
Yeah.